Hello. So my name is Roman. I'm from a Ukrainian company called Skyeton. I'm co-founder of this company and head of commercial. A couple of months ago, we opened company here in Slovakia, and you can see the name of that company, Trapazond. So basically, today I'm not going to advertise our system that we are developing and manufacturing. Maybe a little, but the main title today is to talk about misconceptions that we are facing on the front line in Ukraine from the manufacturers and developers of the unmanned systems that we are getting as a support from all around the world. So first of all, this is the main list of misconceptions, basically, that drone is invisible, that drone needs 15 minutes to pass the jamming area, operators are safe, you need a cheap drone, and couple hours of flight is enough. So let's do it step by step, and first of all, I want to clear up that right now, on the front line, the reality is divided by 3 levels. The first level, it's 0 kilometers to 5 or 7 kilometers from the front line. Most of the UAVs over there, it will be like a copter types. The second level will be from 7 to 20, 25 kilometers away. And the third level is 25 plus kilometers away from the front line. So as for us, we are working on the third level, and we are working on the distance more than 120 kilometers away from the front line. It means that we are going to talk today mostly about this third level, but actually some of these misconceptions will be about any manufacturer and any developer. So first of all, you need to remember that any drone is visible, any. Even if you have the drone size of the bee, it's still visible. The question only from which distance it will be detected. So if we are talking about to make the drone not to be detected as long as possible, there is 3 steps. First of all, it's a size. It's logically that the bigger wingspan, the bigger aircraft you have, the earlier they will detect you. Right now, any UAV on the front line that bigger than 5 meters wingspan is useless, because they will detect it immediately and shoot it down easily. The next step is maximum altitude. Right now, our bird works not lower than 2,500 meters. The best altitude will be at least 3,000 meters to 5,000 meters. That's the average altitude that we are using. If you're not going lower than 2,500 meters and you're less than 5 meters wingspan, so systems like mobile systems like Stinger or something like this, they will not shoot you down. They will not take you as a target. But if you will go lower, just a question of couple minutes. Just a small example, our bird called Raybird 3, almost all birds that we lost it due to a huge rocket. It's a size of the truck called Book M. Everything else, we just not a target for all other systems. But it's actually fair exchange in terms of war, because the price for that rocket just crazy. And the last step is radar transparent materials. I will not tell you a lot about this, but when you design in the aircraft, just pay attention for this. You can find a lot of information in the web. Be careful with carbon materials, because it's a bit tricky and you need to pay attention for that. The second part is jamming. So right now it's the biggest problem for the UAV on the front line. First of all, remember that GPS, GNSS just doesn't exist. You will not find any place with GPS on the front line. It just not exist at all. You can move your crew 50 kilometers away from the front line, and still GPS don't exist. Because both sides will use warfare systems, and basically, if you're going lower than 4,000 meters, you don't have GPS. So you need to be ready, take off, to fly, and to land without GPS signal. That means that you need to have 2 or 3 navigation systems on board. Like today we have like 2 inertial systems on board, we have optics navigation, we have 2 compasses on board, and of course we have GPS with a CRPA antenna, but again, from our experience, 90% of CRPA antennas just not works. It's just a legend that people trying to sell. You need to be higher than 3,000 or 4,000 meters to get this signal. And the last point is links on board you have. 5 years ago, I would say that 2 links on board is enough, and you are safe. You can use 1 link if you lost another link. But right now, for example, we are using 5 links on board, and sometimes it's not enough. The warfare systems will very fast detect your band, and if they have equipment, they will try to jam it. So you need to be ready to use a wide band. For example, right now, in one flight, you can use 2 megahertz. In 10 minutes, you are using 800 hertz. In 10 minutes, you are going to use 5.8. So it's just the situation when you need to change your frequency almost every 30 minutes. The next part is operators. First of all, always remember that your aircraft itself, the target number 2. The target number 1 is your operators. If you lose the aircraft, you open the box, taking another aircraft and launching it. If you lose the crew, that's the end for you. So basically, right now, the minimum distance your crew need to stay from the front line is 20-25 kilometers. If they are closer, it's a 100 guarantee that the enemy will strike them with the rocket, with the shells, and with the guided bomb. The actual distance where you can say that your operator pretty safe, it's 40 kilometers away from the front line. That means that you need to have the communication link that at least 80 kilometers. And remember, if you have 80 kilometer link, you will lose around 20% of that distance under warfare, the efficiency of your link. So basically, the distance for your link should be 80 kilometers, and your guys should to stay at least 20-25, desirably 40-50 kilometers away. And the last part, actually it's very important, but nobody thinking about it. When your crew works with a ground control station, they have antennas. So antennas should to stay at least 50 meters away from the crew, and the best way if it's like at least 200 meters away. It's not a very easy task to make your antennas work properly on the distance from the ground control station, but it's a must-have because in 99%, if the airstrike appears, it will be guided to this radio source. So the next topic is the cheap drones. We are facing it all the time, that you need cheap drones, you need thousands of them, and so on. Yes, you need a lot of equipment, but you will never get proper professional navigation system, protected and encrypted links, professional autopilot, payload in the cheap drone. It's just impossible. You can see companies even here who are working with communication links, for example, and just a proper communication link for one aircraft can cost you like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So when you are talking about cheap drones, it means that you are talking about something that will not work in real world. It means that it's a toy, it's a civil, or just useless in both cases. And frontline conditions. It's a very important part because every manufacturer thinks that the aircraft will stay on the podium, the guy with special equipment will clean it every day, will maintain it properly. It's not true. On the front line, your aircraft will look like a Nissan Patrol in the forest. Really, everything will be covered with dirt. Everything will be wet. Everything will be just... it looks like it's not even aircraft. It's just a piece of something dirty and something that cannot fly. So basically, you need to be ready for that. Guys from army, it's not because they are bad. It's just because they have these conditions. They don't have clean rooms. They don't have clean hangars over there. They need to keep your equipment just outside. They need to fly when they need to fly. So they don't have time to properly maintain it. So be ready for that. And if your equipment is not ready to work in those conditions, just don't bring it, because it's the worst part when the equipment is not working in the most responsible situation. Couple hours is enough for the flight. Maybe it's the biggest problem right now because most of the UAVs, it's a problem of the industry. It's electric UAVs. And the average flight time for those machines will be like 1.5 to 2 hours. The reality of the front line showing that if you have 2 hours of the flight, not any aircraft will have even 2 hours of flight. So if you will have 2 hours, 50 to 60% of the flight time you will spend just for the round-trip flight. You cannot launch your aircraft just from the front line. You need to go back to find a safe place. You will spend 1 hour at least to get to the place of interest and come back. It means that the real number that you will have for the reconnaissance, for the targeting, it will be like 30 minutes. But when you find the target, the next problem that they will detect your link and they will start to move. It means that next 30 to 90 minutes, you just need to follow the target around. You're just flying and following and trying to find out where they will stop or where the base or headquarters or something like that. So basically, you can spend easily a couple hours just following the target. Another interesting number is time between confirmation and strike. Actually, it not works like this. You see the target, boom, no. You see the target, you need to identify it, you need to make sure that it's in a proper place. You need to contact your artillery guys. They need to confirm that they're ready, and then only after that they can strike. So basically, usually it will take, in a good way, it will take 20 minutes. In a bad way, it can take 40 to 60 minutes. So, as you can see, if you have 2 hours of the flight, it means that you are not able to do all this job in one flight. You will need to come back to base to replace battery, or you need to have extra aircraft in the air, and so on. It means that, but if you don't see the target more than 5 minutes, it means that target don't exist anymore. So you cannot work like that. Just an example, our Raybird 3, the average flight time for the combat mission will be between 4 and 12 hours. That's the average number. We never have the flight less than 4 hours, because if it's less than 4 hours, usually it's a training flight. It's not combat mission. As I promised, a bit of advertisement. So Raybird 3, it's our product, and we're developing it from 2014. It's a 3 meters wingspan machine that can carry payload, and the type of the payload we're using let us to work 6 to 12 kilometers away from the target. It's also a very important number, because most of the air defense systems will detect the size of this aircraft from the distance like 4 kilometers or 5 kilometers. So we are trying to keep away from the threats and work from a big distance. We have 3 navigation systems on board, 5 links that works on 120-kilometer distance. The aircraft itself designed to work with a wide temperature range and weather and under heavy-duty exploitation. And the flight time, the most interesting part about this bird, the flight time will be 24+ hours on 1 fuel tank. It's 9 liters of gasoline. So basically, it can be more, it can be less, depending on the payload. And the last thing that I want to say is that the best expertise you can find, it's your end user on the war. Right now, we see that many manufacturers trying to work with our army, some of them doing it better, some of them doing it not so good. But what we see that we are providing a lot of information to manufacturers, we're sharing the experience, but for 2 years, companies may be done like 5 or 7% of what we shared with everybody. So pay more attention to your users. They're actually your key to be the best on the market. And the Skyeton company itself also, we're not hiding our experience. We're thinking that industry need to work together in front of enemies like Russia and so on. So you can easily contact us, and if you need any help, we will be glad to help you. Thank you. Slava Ukraini!